Finally.
Finally.
Okay. I'm trying to get my boy on as well.
Okay.
The boys have been waiting for you.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was here, and I've been here all along. And then I moved for like 5 seconds, and then you guys were here.
You know how it is, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the show was on here now.
Hmm?
Why is this? To text them now. So it's someone's on.
Who's coming on? Is it Puto?
Yeah. There's Wish. What's up, Wish, boy? I'm waiting for the Godfather.
Lord. That's the Godfather.
Where is he? He's sharpening his knife.
Dean, I like this. Dean, you're supposed to be at work.
Where though? Mo.
What?
Where is this guy? Oh, there he is. There's my boy.
I'm just waiting for some balls from this man.
Yo, so I was saying yesterday was 4 hours. 4 hours of just absolute mayhem. Just mayhem. I didn't even see what time it was.
Yesterday was verbal violence.
No, when I switched the call off, my phone froze.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I think conversation. I think like yesterday's conversation, the intensity that I was at. Maybe it's a good thing that it wasn't released.
Yeah, Mo was not pleased with what was
Still not.
So Mo wanted to talk about, wanted to start. I actually wanted to revisit some of the stuff because I was actually thinking about it today. So I wanted to revisit some of them, especially the quotables. So we'll revisit that afterwards. But Mo wanted to speak about this punishment or corporal punishment towards kids or children. So she had an absolutely different viewpoint to what you were saying.
Oh yes. I would like to hear what Mo has to say about that.
But then I'd like to hear. Tell me again, like why is it that you were disagreeing with me in that corporal punishment is not good at school?
I was saying that it's not good. I was saying that it's good because it works, and then you say that it's not good because you say that it's not good because, well, I don't know why you say it's not good because I know I'm saying it's good because it works. So it's not a matter of how I feel about it. It's the results. It does give the results. And yeah.
So your evidence of that is that it worked for you or for people you know, or how do you gather that it works?
It works for the most part of the society. I would say for 80% of the society. That's why at all levels. Well, at all levels. Well, by all levels, okay. Maybe we can put infants aside, but then it works for the entire society. I think that's why we have sort of come up with institutions to try and moderate that, and then sort of, yeah, like that's why, as I said, we have got the police, we have got so many, what you call, so many institutions that have been given the legal right to actually sort of package violence nicely, and then use it moderately, and then efficiently. So it does work. It's part of our society, and then it's just it's not something that it's not an accident. It's part of what we do as human beings and as living. I'm sure even if you can see, you have seen a monkey. I think you are old enough to have seen a monkey making its child, or it's whatever. What's a baby monkey? Monkey led or something. so yeah.
Okay.
So what are you saying?
Wouldn't you say that in the first place, if we didn't start off with punishing children, well, I don't even want to say children. I want to say like people at school, and that's not necessarily like children. So you can be in high school and they still be using the corporal punishment, and it's like, to me, it's kind of like very stupid, because what you are teaching that person is that in order to do anything, somebody must like push you in a force of putting their hands.
No, I disagree with that, because violence it's never the first thing. Like, a teacher does not just come into a classroom and then starts murdering everyone. It's never.
So wait, Mo, are you speaking about it just in the sense of school, or like in the sense of having a child and beating them when they're doing nonsense? Or
okay,
both?
Maybe a choice of words. So then, I am actually not against parents like disciplining their children using some sort of force if they have to. But then it's not necessarily like I'm beating you. It's like I'm like
Pella, when
whatever.
It's a physical force.
Yeah, like, okay, like this is dangerous. Okay, maybe like using a bit more force than being like all nice about it. But then it's at school that I have a problem with, because I'm like, okay, if when you think about it, like, when do they actually use force? They use it when you have done something wrong, or you are late, or you failed, or whatever. So like that for me is just bringing weird like messages to like the person. If I failed,
So
why are you mooring me? And secondly, like if I'm late, you're like, okay, so I'm gonna like smack you 12 times. Some people like just get immune to like, okay, now I'm gonna get smacked, whatever. So why should I even try and be on time? I think
so
I think
what
it's kind of
was
pointless
your
and can be
so said solution? What is your so said solution? What is your
my
idea
solution.
of a change? Yeah, okay. So it's like you've stated that, okay, if you overdo it, the kid will get to a point where he probably doesn't care anymore. He'll be like, I'm probably gonna, if he done the same mistake today, and he doesn't feel like doing his homework for tomorrow, and he's already prepared. He's like, I just might get the smack from my teacher and just carry on with my day. So how can we set them straight and not smack the kid?
So I have had both experiences. I've had a time where I went to a school where it wasn't a thing, and then another school it was a thing. And myself and many others did much, much better from like at a school that didn't like smack you or whatever, because it was really pointless. If you're gonna smack me anyways, I'm like, oh, like whatever. But then if you actually like rather show me why it is important for me to be on time, why is it important for me to get certain things done, that you'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna smack you because you did this and this and that. Like there's no point to that for me, rather other than like teaching me how to handle pain, or like it's just useless. Like I feel like you could talk, because it's not like a child. It's a learner or student, whatever. They able to like dialogue with you and be like, okay, this is why you say I should do this, and then do that, rather than being like, okay, I'm just gonna move you now, like for this and that. It's just I don't think it works for me or many
My boy
other
doesn't,
people that I know.
I feel like
he doesn't understand what mood means. For sure, mood means to hit.
Eh?
Nah, but the thing is that I kind of get your point. But the thing is that I feel like it also varies how the teacher approaches the situation. It's like if your teacher is gonna smack you and then neglect you for the rest of the class, then you're gonna feel like, fuck this bitch. I don't want to even be here. But if there's a teacher like you know you're doing something wrong, she smacks you for it, but then still tells you, you know, I'm only trying to help you. You have to pass this because you know you don't want to be left behind with younger kids. So I'm gonna help you, but you have to work with me, and we're gonna find a solution. It's like he doesn't have to be the brightest kid in class. The teacher could be like, it's fine. Okay, if you're not interested in this subject compared to something else, it's fine. We'll find a solution, but you're gonna do your best. See, then the kid's approach to those two situations are gonna be completely different. Rather than you just smack him and neglect
But
him.
then that's the thing. That's the thing. Why can't you like try and find a solution without actually saying, okay, I'm gonna like smack you first and then we find the solution.
Yeah.
It
also
also puts
Oh, okay. You know, Mo, what I think you are missing, and also what I'm getting from what you are saying, is that you are against the abuse of violence, the abuse of corporal punishment.
Yeah.
That's what you are
Yeah,
against.
okay, that I can understand.
You are not against it. You are against the abuse of it. Just like as talking can also be abused. Talking can, like, remember, it's the you say that a person, a teacher, whoever is in charge, should be able to talk to the students, and then or to a particular student, and then now the question is, what happens if the student does not respond to talking, does not respond to talking? Because that's what happens as well. I mean, it's not either or. Sometimes this works, and then sometimes this doesn't work on other people. Sometimes it works on other people, but then now the fact is that there are people that respond, that will actually start responding when we use violence, or that will start be. And there are also people who will respond when you use weight, and then there are people who will not respond to either of the two. And then there are also people who can find a balance to both the method. But then if you say that, okay, this one must be ruled out, and then we must only be left with this one, then what's going to happen with those ones that just don't listen? And then for them to listen, you actually have to show them the consequences, the consequences of that. And again, violence at all times, it's never the first thing. It's never the first. And I also agree with you there that it should not be used as the first go-to, but it's never the first thing. But then there are cases whereby it becomes necessary for that to happen, for that to happen. Just like, for example, as you say, right now, it's not like violence has been, it's not like even in your school, the school that you went to, it's not like violence, they stopped, for example, corporal punishment there. It was still there. What they did was that they outsourced it to the cops. Because now, if there's a student who's unruly there, if there's a student who's making life difficult for other students, they're gonna do what? They're gonna call violence. They're gonna pick a phone and then call the guy that they've outsourced the violence to. And then he's gonna come, and then he's gonna issue the corporal punishment. He's gonna use force. You see. So now, I I think we agree.
The-
Yeah, I think we agree, but we want to disagree. So that is what I'm getting. That you agree that this can work, and then it works on some people, and on some people it doesn't work, and then it should not be abused. Just as talking should not be abused, because there are parents that you find that, okay, this parent is actually abusing this. He's just repeating this thing over and over again, even though it doesn't work, or even though it's actually annoying to actually keep hearing this thing, and instead it actually frustrates you than help you change. That happens as well. The same thing can happen with violence. The same thing with corporal punishment. The same thing can happen with many other forms of punishment that are there, accessible to the parent. Just like as the one whereby you were talking about the grounding. I'm very sure that grounding will never work on me. I enjoy my time. I've never had a problem finding how to make myself comfortable in isolation. I know for sure that will probably never work on me. And then now, let's say now the teacher keeps on doing that to me, keeps on doing that, hoping that I will change. Will it really, really, really work? Instead, I mean, she or he will. Yeah.
But that's the thing. So like you have options that doesn't have to do anything with violence or like snatching people's children, because they're not your kids anyways. You're just there to help educate them while their parents are wherever they are. So like you have really no right to be like laying your hands on them. That's like for the parents to decide, right? Like seriously,
Okay.
though. Because
Do you have
my point is,
do you have a right to ground them, or do you have a right to ground them?
no, like grounding them from what? So
then
then,
do you have a right
to them?
Yeah, so do you, okay, what exactly do you have a right to do? Do you have a right to talking with them? Do you only have a right to talking to them, right? And then you don't have a right to...
No, that's not what I'm
Okay.
saying. So
Okay,
what
no,
I'm saying is that, so
as a teacher,
home, right? Yeah.
As a teacher, it's your job to educate, and it shouldn't be the teacher's target to just educate 3/4 of the class or just the smart ones. Her job is to make sure everyone gets some sort of knowledge at the end of every class. So if there's some kid, say for example, a kid that can not the top of the class, but can manage, but still fooling around in class, okay? And the only way the teacher can control, because he's causing a problem that, maybe some other kids can't concentrate, and this guy is causing a problem. And I feel like the action the teacher takes at that point is fair, because how she has to, like, a class of 30 kids, and one guy is causing a problem for the rest of the 29, and then she's also on the back of that, she's trying to help. She's trying to help these kids that can't do well, that need extra care. So what do you do then?
I was that kid, the disruptive
Were
one.
you? Nah,
Yeah,
bro. What my parents used to tell my teachers at parent-teacher meetings was like, "Oh, teacher, you can smack him whenever you want, as long as he studies."
Yeah.
Bro, that's the first thing.
Yeah.
And I'm there like,
when I got called at school, they used to always say, have you hit him yet? And you'll be like, no. And they're like, why are you calling us if you haven't tried that option?
Exactly. That's the first thing. I was like, teacher, you can hit him, no problem, as long as he studies. I'm there like,
yeah.
What? I was like,
so even the kid, let's say more, even with that, do you have the right to hit the kid?
What? Your job as a teacher is to be teaching children. And if somebody is disrupting the classroom, then you send them to an appropriate place where.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure every school,
yeah,
right? Every school will have some sort of protocol to have. Okay, if you are making a noise, and it's not fair for the other kids that are in class to be waiting and watching you guys, like, you know, get smacked, get this. Now you're taking like half the class and we're just watching there. It's pointless. Now you're taking our time and whatever. So what the teacher should be doing is that she should be following, or he, the protocol. Okay, go out or go to be there, and then like you get sorted the way you need to be sorted. But like stopping a whole class, now we're watching you and laughing, you're getting smacked and you cannot take the heat, whatever the case may be. It's really, really like just stupid.
But more, are you aware that even the unruly child, you have a responsibility to that unruly child? The very same child that is becoming a problem, you have a responsibility to teach that child as well. The parents have
Exactly.
They've given you the mandate to teach that child. They've paid the school fee. So whatever that you are doing, if you now isolate him from that class, you can isolate him from the class, but then now you are depriving him of a resource that he has actually paid for. Basically, you owe this child. Are you gonna go and teach him in private?
Mostly, schools that would have that kind of like protocol, they would probably send him to like an empty class somewhere where he can be, or she can be like all excited and trying to like disrupt the whole class. So they can still do their work there, but they are isolated there by themselves. And therefore they don't have the chance to be to do whatever it is that they were doing that was disrupting everything else.
But see, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like, even if you isolate a kid in the corner of the class, okay? You're talking about kids here. They laugh at anything. It could be a fucking noise that they make themselves. It makes some loud noise.
That's me, bro. You're legit speaking about me. I'm legit in the corner. I was that kid. If you send me into a corner, I will disrupt that class. I will always find a way to disrupt it.
But that's my thing. Like, so that is the same as if now you were getting smacked and now we stop and watch you. It's still disrupting everything that's happening. I'm not talking about, send you to the naughty corner like you are 3 years old. I'm talking about you go, like, for instance, we had detention classes, right? And in there, it's not nice. Like, whoever's in there is probably like forced to go to a place where they can work away from the children. So you're not taking away from that kid's school fees. You're giving them opportunity to go and do what they're supposed to do elsewhere because they're incapable of doing it with 20 other kids.
Okay, so that's elite schools, though. That's also elite schools.
But even though, you know, it's like just generally kids are very, very emotional, okay? And usually it's the most emotional are the loudest ones. The ones that speak out loud, the ones seeking for attention. So if you put aside that loud kid into another room or separately from, you know, where he's supposed to be, in his head, he's going to think like, wow, okay, he's going to think, oh shit, something's wrong with me, or they're going to think in a completely different way than what the actual problem is. I'm telling you. No, 100%. It's like isolating someone up.
Reality is you can see. So this is what you are doing and it's wrong. You got a warning. Like, it's not the first thing they would do. They'll be like, okay, can you stop doing whatever it is you're doing? And then maybe the third time be like, okay, this is the consequence of what you're doing. Therefore, you're not going out there and be like, my teacher hates me. You know that your behavior was the reason why you are where you were at.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like they're kids. How often a mother or a dad, you know, a mother or a father, they tell their kid not to do something, and 1 out of 10, how many out of 10 times do they actually fucking listen? The dad will be like, he give you the look as well.
You're speaking about the grade R's or like grade 1s, like, because they use
No. See, that's the thing. It's like it's like even though they don't show it, like even older kids, 14, 15, 16, even though they don't show it, they're still kids. They still have that kid in them for them to think that way or take it very personally, take it very emotionally. So it's like
But
everything, even taking that approach, it's like just the isolation part, they'll take it very, very wrongly. Rather than, okay, a teacher actually being like, we're gonna actually get you to the next, I'm gonna help you to pass this, and so you can move forward to the next grade. Okay, give a nice smack on the fucking face. You can listen to me. No, I'm joking. but still, it's like
no,
just
it's for the parents. It's the parents.
what does he learn from just isolating him or her or whatever?
A lot. Like in there, it's not like you are there just like doing whatever. You are there studying. You are there. Like just because you are in a different class where it's just you or you and two other troublemakers, it doesn't mean that you guys are there having a party. Like you still have your work. You are still told, okay, listen, this is what you must do. And perhaps you have like usually maybe like a teacher, but it's not like a proper teacher, an assistant that is there to like ensure that you guys are doing whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing.
I think you're also speaking about a lot about private schools here. I don't know how many schools have an extra class or an assistant teacher or some sort of I'm like I can understand what you're like. Look, I went to a school where you can have that, right? But even then, it's like it's resources that doesn't need to be in there, right? So look, when I was rowdy at school, I was just kicked out all the time, right? And that really didn't mean anything. It was especially first of all, I was at an all boys school, so being kicked out was actually almost like a trophy. It's like, yeah, fuck, like I did some shit, like
credit, some credit.
Yeah,
when you got kicked out, all your friends are like, shit, he embarrassed the teacher. He's the man. But you throughout your whole school life, you catch on to that hype. When it's too late, then you think back.
So I mean, like as a boy being at school, which is almost similar to like a gangster when a gangster does something wrong, you get street cred for that. You don't get street cred by doing nice shit. Right, so it's like you get school cred. So you kicked me out. I'm outside. Now you're worried as a teacher because you haven't taught me, and then I'm not learning outside, right? Or even if you're gonna come and give me homework, it's like I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't learned this. And chances are, even if you're gonna if you're either gonna give that to my parents to teach me, which they probably won't, because then the first question will be, why are we paying the school to teach him if we're gonna teach him? And then this other thing is, well, then are you going to teach him after hours? And then that's also not going to be possible because I've got sport after hours. I don't have time for that. And probably the teacher doesn't either. Right? So then it's like, okay, well, whatever I'm teaching, what are you going to do? Okay, I'm going to give it to you so that you can teach it yourself later on. And then you can do the homework. It's like, I'm not going to do that either. I wasn't even able to do that with you being in the class. Right? So then it's like, okay, well, then what are we going to do? Then we send you to social workers or we send you to the principal. It's like the more you escalate it, the more you're like, man,
you're bringing back memories.
It's like all that time I'm still not studying, right? I'm still not learning, right? And then it gets to a point where it's like, okay, well then, how about then we then just say, okay, we're gonna let him back into class after, let's say, kick him out of this class, and then let's hope he's not gonna do it in the next class. The next class comes there, then I go, hey, I was the man last time when I got kicked out. Let me get kicked out again. Kicked out again every single time. So now I'm thinking, putting myself in my teacher's mind is to say, okay, well, this is where you get to, what do you call this? When you get a first warning and all of that, and then you get suspended, and then you get expelled, right? And that's highly difficult as well to just expel someone. You really, really need to prove a lot of things, right? You need to prove a lot of things to the government or even the principal and all of that stuff to actually expel a kid, right? Or to even suspend him just from being naughty. Because then the first thing they'll ask you is, well, he's a kid, he's a boy, he's amongst other boys. What do you expect him to do? So then as a teacher, you get put in a predicament where you're thinking, well, what the hell am I supposed to do with this kid? Like, I'm going to put in so much effort trying to get him out of the school, and then I'm not putting effort in these kids. Well, What if I smack him? Will he listen then? So it's like you go through all the options. Yes, of course. And we agree on that you have to go through those options. You can't just rock up and hit a kid because chances are you probably hit you back. But then at the end of it all, when you go through the whole spiel, what do you have left as a teacher? My mom's a teacher, and I used to think that as well. Like, man, like if I had a kid like me in class, I'd probably say just punch him in the face, smack him, hit him. Like, you know,
God.
Because at some point it's like, yeah, but and I used to think that of myself. Like at some point, these guys are really gonna get mad, take me into a little corner, and they're gonna go, look, we've talked to you enough now. Okay, and we at least say have gotten permission from your parents, and you smack you, right? But then it's like, oh, okay, well, they're social workers. I can always go to them and say, hey, my teacher hit me, or hey, my mom hit me. Then it's not even that the teacher doesn't have the right to hit you. Neither do your parents, because neither does no one else have the right to hit you. So you then get protected from being, you get protected from being hit. And you get protected from even when you do certain things that you're not being hit for.
No, but I think my conflict with also my main disagreement again with what the people, well, I would call them the people who are against corporal punishment is that I mean, you went to a boys' school. I also went to a boys' school, and I've got a son. And then I've noticed the fact that, well, I've also read and then seen that the people that are for example, that are anti-corporal punishment, mostly they will say things like, people should not hit kids and all that. But now they forget that boys, boy children are they've got very short concentration spans. You say something, he sits there, you say sit there, he sits there for 4 minutes, and after that he gets bored, and then he wants to jump around and do other things. And then that's where now they come up with these things of diagnosing kids with ADHD. And then from there now kids have to be drugged so that they can be numb and then be like girls, be numb and soft and calm like girls in class and all that. And then that becomes a problem now because it's not
a good thing.
It's not a good thing. And then I know for a fact. And then from there they will say, for example, that they've got ADHD, whatever, and then they will come up with a name, and then that the boy should be on treatment so that he can be able to. He's hyperactive. Well, boys, my son is hyperactive. Boys are hyperactive. 6 o'clock, they're already up, and then they're already running around and all that. And it's not because they are stupid. It's because they get bored easily. So if either you make what you are teaching interesting, and then you make sure that it's also they participate physically as well, and then. Or then you're gonna have to smack him if you want him to sit still sit still for 40 minutes.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
So then, and you, Lungelo. So, for instance, if they did smack you at the time you were being you were misbehaving and whatnot, will that have changed anything?
For me, it did.
Okay.
Definitely did. Remember, I don't like being smacked. First of all, let's get that. I don't like being smacked, and because I don't like that, then I'm going to have to avoid things that are going to put me in a position where I have to get smacked. Just like now, as an adult, I don't like even being stopped by the cops. I don't like the back and forth. So when the cops stop me, I like to stop, or I like to keep my car in a condition whereby the cops won't have to stop me all the time, because I don't like that. You see, and then even now when they stop me, I try to make sure that I become as peaceful as possible. It is only violence should only be used as a last resort. And then at all times, you should always try to negotiate to diplomacy before the guns, and then that's what happens. So I don't like that. I don't even think that there are more. I think most people don't even like to be smacked. And then because they don't like that, that's one thing that they are sure that they don't like. And then those that like to be smacked, those ones you have to be very, very worried about. But then I think the majority of the population, they don't like to be smacked. And then because they don't like to be smacked, they are likely to act in ways that will avoid that. But then if they see that whenever they push, nothing happens, they push, nothing happens, and then they know, like for example, it's nice, for example, currently currently with women, I you know that they will say that you can't hit a woman, you see. So I'm sure that you have also seen the fact that is being said. How have women sort of maybe reacted towards men? I've seen women poking guys that are almost 2 times taller than me and then 2 times bigger than me, and then you are like, okay, this is not gonna happen. I wouldn't do that to that guy. I wouldn't. But then she's here and then provoking that guy. Why? Because she knows that violence to her, violence against her is not in the cards. But then men understand dominance very, very clearly. That's also what violence teaches you. Is that I know that I know that there are men that are bigger than me. There are men that there are men that I can dominate. There are also men that are bigger than me. And then that is something that all men understand very, very clearly. Very, very clearly, and they understand men. If there are any species, human species that understand dominance, it's men, because they understand that at every interaction there's always an underlying threat of violence, and then the violence that can happen there can be fatal. So because it can be fatal, so men are required to be sober whenever they deal with other men. They are required to be what? They are required to be sober, and then to also minimize the violence, which is why in some cases violence between men wouldn't even happen, because we can already see that this one is likely to win. And then for example, a smaller guy having an altercation with a much bigger guy, he already sees that this is going to, and then he's going to try to do what? He's going to try to use other means in order to make sure that it doesn't get there. Maybe he's going to try to negotiate, maybe he's going to try to use weights, and then and then that one, because that is the power he holds, he's also going to try to enforce, to use force as well. So men understand.
Well, that's like the interaction with a female, right? Is
yes.
That most of the time females understand that when they're in an altercation with a male or with another female, and you know that physically you're not imposing, the only other thing that you do have is then your words. Because if as soon as you lift a slap up, you're gonna go to the grave. This person will bury you. So you use that. But then also if a female goes into combat with someone that then they know they can beat up, that's when they go all love and hip hop Atlanta on them.
Yeah, but again, which is why the modern culture, the current modern culture, has actually made women absorb the fact that whenever a man hits them, the man is gonna be in big trouble. Basically, the man, no matter how big,
the interspecies, that's the problem.
Your hands are tied, and then because of that, women have been very, very reckless in dealing with men. I mean, they've been very reckless lately in dealing with men. You see, and then they've been reckless in such a way that before, if you track through, you find that you track through history or even earlier, you find that no, women were not as reckless as they are now. But now they are much more reckless. Why? Because they understand that men are tight. Like that, if a man tries to beat you, if you slap him and then he beats you back, the army of other men are going to come to your aid, not to the man's aid. They're all going to come to the man's aid. So that is I think that is the flaw that is the unwanted circumstance of having to remove the threat of violence against women.
Yeah. So the interpersonal relationships are then the problem and not the intra, because then female against female, they kind of know where it can go. Male against male, you kind of know where it can go. The issue when it's male against female, then you go, I don't know where I can tread because I can only speak so much. But then she can then speak to whatever depths that she wants. Whereas the guy is like, well, normally if this was another guy and we're speaking this long, At some point, one's going to shove another. And then even then with a fight, it's like, it's a fight, right? It's on, it's game on. And more likely than not, even if you get beaten, you don't go to the cops, bro. You're actually worse by going to the cops, right? Because it's like, oh, you don't do that. You take your L and you move on. You can talk shit about it, but you move on, right? Whereas the other way around, you go, no, if you take an L, any altercation is an L to you. Even if you slap the guy 10,000 times and he pushes you and you trip and fall, that is then your cue to go to the police station.
Yeah, because
that makes equality a fucking joke.
Exactly.
The whole equality thing. Because think about it, man fights with man, both get in trouble. Man and woman fight. Oh, now the man's in trouble, regardless of who initiated. Now the man's in trouble. How funny is that? But yet they fight for equality. What equality? The system is flawed.
Yeah.
The system is flawed. What equality? How is there equality if that can still happen? What equality are you fighting for?
Yeah. But anyway, Mo, so what were you saying in terms of corporal punishment thing? So you're saying that it's fine. You understand it that if a parent uses force against their child, but not if a teacher does, because the teacher is not the parent and they don't have the right. Now, when you say that they don't have the right to, neither does the parent have the right to hit anyone.
only the
Any
state,
of the parents.
only the state.
So then no one has the right to ever use physical violence against anyone.
It is the state. Only the state has the monopoly over the use of violence, because the state is one that is given, that is sanctioned, that is given what do you call something to moor, and then the gun, and then the state is the one. Even though now that power, people want to strip that power from the state as well. The people, they want to strip that power from the state, and then we're gonna get to the point whereby, well, maybe you're gonna have to call the army. You're gonna have to call the army, and then to come and reprimand you, or you don't have to call anyone. We're just going to have to talk to the drunk uncle who beats everyone there, and then to talk to him, to massage him until we are going to have to massage him to peace and calmness.
No, man.
Look, that's actually also an episode on South Park where this whole Black Lives Matter thing, and they're trying to take guns and force away from the police.
Yes.
Right? And then the police say, oh, okay, cool, no problem. And then take the guns, and then they take the guns and the brute force, and then the police can't do anything, because even if you touch someone wrong, you're gonna get fired. And then what happens after that is that then all the criminals then come out of nowhere. And then all the criminals say, oh, cool, perfect. Now we can then go and rob and kill and do whatever the hell we want, because we're criminals. And that's what we're going to do. We don't care what we're going to say. That's where the unruly kids come in. And then they go and they start to beat everyone up. The crime rate goes up. Everything goes up. And then all of a sudden the citizens say, hey, look, man, I'm getting robbed. Let me pick up a phone and call the police. And they call the police, and the police go, hey, what do you want us to do? Come there and talk to them? And then they go, no. But the thing is, like, use the police. It's like, yeah, well, you can't do anything now. So at some point, it's like, that is what it will then get to if you then take it away to that point. But then the question is, then who should have that authority? Because if you say that the teacher can't have that authority, and that obviously you don't want the police to have it against the child, let's say, then the parent, why can the parents have it? Because then that's when the social workers step in as well. And they say, you don't beat your child, otherwise they should call their number. And they call that number, then you get taken away. Now you as the parents don't even have that either.
But then you see, that's the problem. The state in itself shouldn't be parenting your kid. That's where we have it all really messed up. Like, no, really, what business is the government having on my children when they know nothing about my child or what's good for them or not? Like, for them, they're just gonna, come as like, okay, now there's an emergency, so we have to step in here and here and here and there. But then you as a parent, Yeah, like it's either they're moving, not even, but then it's that the child is at a place where they are really like really messed up. And so when they come in to punish, in that, okay, you come to jail or we put you in this orphanage. So for them, it's nothing like good. Like they don't love the child. So it's like, what the hell? We'll just come and
So they
rescue
shouldn't. So the
whatever
state
is
shouldn't
left.
have
So
any say over your child.
the state shouldn't be raising your child. So that's why I'm
Okay.
saying it's
So if you're not
it's
raising it, then who can raise it?
I didn't say I'm not raising the child. I'm saying that the
I'm saying if
responsibility.
you aren't.
Hmm?
I'm saying if you aren't. If you're not raising it, then who should?
Well, obviously, the next step will be that the state has to step in, and it's unfortunate that
So,
you'll probably end up in an orphanage somewhere or in prison because.
So if you abuse your child, right,
Mm,
then the state can step in, even though whatever you're doing it based on how you think you should raise your child.
there's a standard in everything, so I can't be beating up my child.
Who sets the standard?
There is, eh?
Who's gonna set the standard?
So, well, we set the standard as the society and whatever. Like, if now your way of disciplining a child, eh?
The state.
Not the state. The state is not even there yet. So if I'm the next door neighbor and the child next door is being beaten to a point where they can't even walk the next day, that's not discipline. That's abuse. So then when you are disciplining your child, it's smacking somebody and being like, okay, this is not okay. Like, that's discipline. You're not harming them. So as soon as you start harming the child, then that's the problem. That's when other people start to step in, and even the states.
Which is why I'm asking who sets the standard? Who sets that standard? Because as you are saying, harming. If there is no standard, harming can be however another person feels that you are going too far. You could be slapping your child with a wet towel, and then another person who has never experienced that's harm to him, and then you could be slapping your child. Administering some medicine. Administering some medicine to your child, then another person doesn't like it because, well, they believe that's not how. The same thing happens with animals currently. If you slaughter a cow, if you slaughter some, they will say, no, that's barbaric. You can't be doing that. As if, well, there's other ways. And then I've seen people, well, stab a cow. That's how we kill a cow where I come from. And then I've also seen people shoot a cow. And then for me, they believe that is better. But for me, that was horrible. Like it was just horrible. So now I want you to ask you, now who sets these standards that you're talking about? Because who said is the society? You said it's the society. And then I said, okay, but then the state is the custodian of the laws that we have agreed upon as a society. Well, ideally it should be like that. The state should be the custodian of those laws that we have agreed upon as a society.
Yeah.
And then basically, or we have given the state the mandate to then decide what is standard and then what is not standard, what is standard and what is not standard. So at the end of the day, we are still going to outsource that power. We're still going to outsource that power of control to the state.
I'm still here, yeah.
Oh, okay. You are still there.
Oh, is the video still on?
The video is gone.
Yeah.
I'm speaking to a ghost now.
But just to put it out there, it's not like obviously all the just taking back a step to the teachers and smacking kids. It's not like I liked all the teachers that fucking smacked me, but the teachers that did smack me and also put in a lot of effort, a lot of effort, care, and try to understand what kind of, at that age, what kind of person I am, very carefully handling. Those teachers I still remember and I still respect. That, like, obviously, in the future, you think back and be like, wow, that was an experience. But the other teachers that, just smart, didn't care, just smart because they had to control the situation. Obviously, them I still remember, and it's a negative thought about them. So it's like, it's not like all the situations are perfect, but there are scenarios where, like, you can get the best out of it. More often than not, I'd say. And it also depends on the teacher. If the teacher is doesn't care, just wants to do the job and get out, obviously you'll feel like, oh, she just smacked me for no fucking reason today. No one learned anything. But if she's, smacked you and then gone to, you've actually, you end the class thinking, shit, fuck, I actually learned something today. I've even though I didn't want to because she smacked me, but she's put in effort. And even though I was so angry about the fact that she smacked me, I've learned something. Those are the teachers.
Yeah.
And it depends. It varies from teacher to teacher. But I just want to, because, like, obviously, if you go on smacking kids every day, you're just going to be that teacher. So it's like, there's a way it should be done.
Yeah, but let me ask this, Vishan. Let me ask this, because I don't know if you have experienced that before, or maybe you are currently. Haven't you experienced a moment whereby you're with your parents, they told you something, it didn't make sense at the time, or they did something, and then it looks stupid, or it didn't make sense at the time. Maybe 10 or 20 years later, you are starting to see why that was happening.
Yeah, you're like, okay, that makes sense.
Oh, okay, so this is what was happening, because I think I've had lots and lots of those episodes. Because, for example, I grew up in a family whereby my dad was he's someone who actually pushed you to work. Like, there was really, well, even though we had time to play, but then the bulk of what we did was actually work. Work. And then at the time, I believed that was abuse. And then the state, the general narrative was that was abuse, you see. But I started seeing the benefits of that when I was maybe 2021. That, there is actually a difference, because in what was happening there, I've actually picked up skills that actually put me at a greater advantage in comparison to other people who didn't go through what I went through. And then I'm actually at a point whereby I can be able to do what I can be able to sort of, I don't necessarily need my dad. So I actually, and then which is actually what brought me to the main purpose of parenting. That you're actually training your children so that they don't necessarily need you. And then the sooner you can actually achieve that goal, then the better, because even if you can die, you know that you have left people who can be able to sustain themselves. And then so that's why I'm saying, well, going back to the issue of lessons, that I think that it's not always the case that you will actually see the importance of a lesson that you are being taught at the time, especially as a child, because you have got a completely different way of different worldview. Like, for example,
it's like your whole mindset is different as a kid. As a kid, you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna head to school today. We've got 1 hour before classes start. We're gonna be out playing football. Go into class absolutely sweating.
All the time.
Sweating. And the first thing the teacher says is that, boys, don't play tomorrow. You guys smell. That's the first thing we used to hear. You guys smell. it's like it's like when you're in school, your whole life is cool. It's like just get through school. It's like this. It doesn't matter if you're the smartest student, the student at the bottom of the class. That is your goal. It's like you're already thinking, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this in the future, because you haven't actually dealt with reality, and at that point, you're not ready to hear the real reality that your parents are trying to enforce on you. But then you carry on with school, and then you in the back of your head, you still remember, oh, my dad said this, but it's fine. But then when time comes and reality hits, and then you go, shit, my dad did tell me this. I didn't believe it then.
Yeah.
Now I believe it. I've seen it. Now I believe it. And it's like it's a funny thing, you know. It's like you don't learn it until you experience it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's the best lesson you've ever learned.
Best. See, those are the lessons that'll stick with you throughout. Those lessons that people have tried to teach you, and then you went on to learn them yourself. Those are the lessons that will build your character and build who you are in the end. And that's why it's like, you know, that's why no one should not take advice from anyone. Be open to taking advice from everyone, and then one day you'll be like, okay, this person did say this. It could not happen, but the fact that you're open to it could open so many doors.
Yes, that's true. I mean, look, even with this, I understand both sides. I understand what Mo's saying, and I understand what Kutu's saying as well. I think with what Mo's saying, when it relates to non-private schools or schools that are not wealthy, which is a majority of schools in most places, I mean, then you make it almost impossible for a teacher to teach. You make it impossible for a teacher to go through school, especially when you have like a horde of boys just raging with hormones and, you know, like ready to just interrupt everything. It's almost impossible because going through the steps
Why
trying to expel a kid.
Why there's a fault in that? No, why there's a fault in that is because they don't, for like just generally government schools, they don't hire teachers who are actually passionate about the job. They hire teachers who agree with the salary. You know, if you hire the most passionate teachers who would go through thick and thin for government schools, okay, then there will be a huge difference. But that doesn't happen anywhere. That's the thing. It's like, okay, this is the pay. Can you do the job? Okay. They agree, sign, done. And obviously, the teacher wants a paycheck, pays her bills. That's what's in her head. And, you know, it goes on. No one learns anything. Teacher gets her paycheck. She doesn't put in any effort because she's not passionate about it. She has a qualification for it, but she's not passionate about it. So,
but I mean, also with that as well, it's like, how many passionate people will you get even trying to get into the course to begin with?
Yeah.
And then also on top of that is how many people of those passionate people that will get into the course to begin with end up not passionate because of the reasons that they then have to go through with that stuff. So you'll always end up with a small minority of non-passionate people, even if they started off passionate. But because then you set up all these other difficulties and things like that with them, they end up either being not passionate, or then they say, well, look, actually my life, I need to at some point move personally, and I don't think this school is good for it, and the private school is better, and at least there they have these rules that are in place, so therefore I can then expand on my passion of teaching. Whereas if I go to a school where they don't say have corporal punishment, and they expect me to then take a class of 50 kids, and it's just absolute mayhem there, and then I can't even reach the parents, so I can't even do much, and I can't even do anything to enforce anything, then what's the point? And then you end up with, you know, a whole horde of teachers in private school and a whole horde of teachers that are not passionate in public school. Same with medicine. You know, you have if you don't give incentives to people to stay in the shitty places, then they won't stay and they will leave. But yeah, so anyway, so with most people, I can understand that, like, that works perfectly almost in a private school. Because then, you know, you more likely those kids have parents that are always there, nuclear families. They're going to then go to school and understand. You can call the parents, you can put them in another class, you can set up all these social worker things for them so that they end up and then it's, oh, I understand Johnny's 14. He's going to feel like this. He really loves sport. Maybe if you let him play a bit outside beforehand, then he's not going to come back into class, you know, with raging hormones. And then it's like, okay, that works. And then on the other side, you go, okay, well, what do you do in a class of 50? You know, and it's like,
85,
social...
85. 85.
Wait,
Class
wait.
of 85.
85. Sorry, not 50, a class of 85.
I hear you, but then that's still a problem there. So that's a different problem that we have in public or government schools where it's
I didn't
way
hear that.
too
What did
many
you say?
learners. It's the same, like there's still a problem in the way that they do like punishment, whatever, management, whatever they're doing. Because even if you have like 50 kids, now that is the problem that is different, that needs a different solution, right? But then if you are going to put your hand on some kid in a public school that is already having too many issues, probably from home, whatever, and they retaliate and put their hands back on you, which these kids, they're trending now. That's what they're doing. They're taking, because now you use violence towards them. Now they're going with knives as well.
So that it's, I feel like in that situation,
now
it should be the teacher's job. It should be the teacher's job to earn the class's respect in their own ways. Once you earn a certain way of respect. No, you can, as a teacher, the only way you can earn respect from students is through effort. There is no other way. There is no other way. You can't give them a fucking chocolate and be like, respect me now.
If you have a troubled child in your class, and or a few, and in fact in a class where you have 50, 60 learners that are just stacked on top of each other, like there are probably like 10 of them that are going to give you trouble. And now if your solution is
that 10 is enough, probably
two is
like
enough.
I would want in a class of 25. I'm telling you, it's enough.
You see, so then
Jesus, 10.
Now you like.
Wait, do you guys actually have classes with 60?
85, not 60. 85.
How many is it in Sri Lanka?
Fuck, bro, like around 40, 42, 3. Fuck,
you guys
bro,
have a nice
85. Fuck me, bro. Tell the teacher to take a paycheck and dip. tell her to take a paycheck and leave. Fuck, 85. See, in that case, no chance do I hold the teacher responsible. She can smack any kid she wants. She can smack any kid she wants.
Classes of 40 back home. Classes of 40 back home is a private school, boy. You still call it public.
But yo, see, in that case, that teacher can smack anyone she wants. Leave it. She has my vote. She has my vote. 85.
But here's the thing.
She better come in there with a fucking with a stick. Use the broom if she has to.
That's what I'm saying. You make it so impossible for teachers to teach, bro. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, in that case,
and I'm not saying that when
in that case, I understand. 85 is a lot.
Because in that 85, you've got 5 that are way over age, or maybe 5 or 10 that are way over age. Like they look like they're older than you. They look like they're older than you. And they are.
And they are.
And then you have got the smaller. You have got maybe about 10 who are very, very, very small. Like they are small. Like the age difference is huge. And then you have got 5, another 5 that think that they're the prettiest in school, and then they will be having their corner. Then you have to manage. You've got another one. You've got another 10 maybe that are being beat up by their stepfathers at home, which is why I don't like stepfathers. By the way.
No, in that case,
And then you have 5 that are pregnant.
Yeah. Then that are moved by their stepfathers. And then you've got ones that didn't eat. And then you've got ones that don't wear proper uniforms. They've been wearing a jersey, then they're wearing a shirt, a very small shirt. And that a shirt is just a collar, and then it's covered by the jersey. Then from work, from school, then they just wash it and then dry it. They can dry it even like this in the morning, and then from there they just put it inside. And then there's just too much. There's just too much that is happening in government.
Didi is saying is that you have some that are pregnant in class, and then you have some that are not.
You have got couples in class, and then you are not supposed to move them. You have got couples in class.
And then,
why is it
and then after that, and then the ones that aren't pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the ones that aren't pregnant have kids
You've got ones
that are standing in class.
Yeah. So if you can go there in government schools, you would actually see you'd actually understand why in other races and in other groups of people they never really agreed that they believe that people should be grouped. Like for example, you find that the elites would go take their kids and then take them in. Why? Because all these differences that we have listed, they make it difficult for one teacher to then now understand all these people. How do you deal with it? How do you deal with the couples in class? We are dealing with a pregnant one there. We are dealing with one that has got 2 kids already there. And then
when this whole topic starts,
or the father is in the same class, but they're not talking anymore, and then he has bolted. The father has bolted, but they have to go and meet in the same class. And then,
when this whole topic started, I thought we were talking about like a 30-35 class, 85.
No, boy. Like that is simple. Like I was saying to her as well. Like those schools are the schools that I went to. Like where it's like that is perfect. You have you go to school. There's 20. If you make a noise, you stand out, and then you stand out first because not everyone knows it's you. Then the teacher has to then either take it to the front of the class or to the back of the class.
I'm laughing at Dean Alexander. He says, come to a colored school. There's an auntie in your class.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. That makes sense in a private school, right? Or schools like that where they'll take you to the front of the class, and then after that they'll kick you outside, and then after that they want you to be humiliated because you're the only person out of 100 in your grade that's outside. Exactly. And then after that, take you to a social worker, take you to an LO teacher, and then have you suspended, but only after a long time, and then have you expelled. That stuff makes like it's easy because then the parents as well are they kind of understand that that's the way that it is, and this is what we signed up for. And all the other parents are then going to look at your child like there's something wrong with him. Now, if you take that and you put it and you kind of switch everything around where the majority is unruly and one person actually wants to learn, it's almost impossible.
And what I mean also is that, like, with the approach that you're going for, because the reality is that you have a giant class with so many different problems needing different solutions.
No, it's a small class. It's a small class with giant problems because the infrastructure is still a 7.5 by 7.5. So the size is still small. It's just the problem that are more.
Deal with the info.
And even when the kids smoke, you don't even know which kid is smoking.
There's one who smokes. There's one who smokes, and then there's one who brought a Smirnoff Spin or a Savannah inside the juice bottle, and then he's making others take. There's just so much problems that are happening, guys. And then there's one boy, and then there's one girl who are virgins, and then they want to learn, they want to learn so hard. They try so much to pay attention to you, but others are telling them how nice sex is, how good sex is, and then now they have to close their ears all the way to high school. And then, but while closing their ears, they still have to listen to the teacher teaching. so it's...
My man. So then, here's my point, Gebo.
Yeah.
In all that mess that you have described, and you know it's a real thing, it's there.
Yeah.
Now, you as a teacher, you are already having your aunties in class. You are having niggas who are smoking weed in class. You are having like really like people for the street sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you come when you're like, okay, I need order in my class, and therefore I can smack you. So whatever it is that you're using, if I'm making a noise back there with like, go do your call, you come and then you're like, hey, Puzo, I'm gonna beat you up, and then Puzo starts beating you up as a teacher, because now I get it. You showed him, okay, we smack. So if he's like, I don't like the way you are handling me. And
I would never say that to a kid that I think that kid could beat me up. Just like I would never say that to someone that I think they could beat me up. But if I come to a class, and I know, well, that's why it would be difficult for most females, and especially in a boys' school. But if I know that if I rock up in a grade 6 class and I'll be like, hey, listen now, bro. If you guys want to jump, you can jump. But you're not gonna fuck this class up. And from then onwards, you then create a certain level of authority. And then at the same time, you tell them, look, if you pay attention and you do what you do, then it's going to be a fun class. And that's what most teachers do most times. Is that you still have to establish that. It's going to be a fun class, but I'll knock you. But then even in saying that, you then...
So true.
Yeah, but even in saying that, you have a certain level of knowing that if I go through and I try to hit you,
the lunch becomes
a class. Then something is going to happen. Then something is going to happen to me. Whenever I go back to lunch in class, it's a buffet.
The lunch becomes a platter. A platter.
And you're like, oh guys, I'm hungry.
School is fun, bro.
They start giving you all sorts of nicknames just for popping out lunch. They start giving you all sorts of nice nicknames. Even the one that was quiet starts giving you a certain nickname that is sweet, that you don't know, that you didn't even know you had. It's rough out there, guys.
At least there are feeding schemes now, so it's not as terrible.
So
if you bring a ham sandwich,
they don't like.
If you bring a ham sandwich, it's a problem.
They don't like that. They like homemade stuff, not stuff that is being given out there for everyone. They like homemade stuff. So I think, personally, I think that I actually believe that it's gonna be extremely hard to actually find order. Find order in these circumstances. Why? Because we really need to think about grouping people accordingly. Which is, and then when you mention something like that, someone's gonna cry, hey, racism, hey, segregation, hey, what. But putting pregnant women in one class with that, and then putting others with kids, putting others with sensitive,
she's gonna take all her emotions out on those 85 kids,
and then it's not gonna work. And then now the confusion is getting worse, because now you have got some that now no longer identify as he or her, and then you have to now accommodate those new pronouns so that you don't sound offensive. Then over and above that, there's some that will tell you that now they are now vegetarian, and then they've changed, and then now they come. So it's just gonna be a long confusion that's just gonna grow and grow, and then that becomes a problem. Now I think people should be grouped. You are pregnant, there's the school for the pregnant people. You are what? You have got 2 kids with so and so. There's the school for people with 2 kids from so and so. And then we can be able to now tailor-make the education that you need and the pace that you need. And the pace that you need, and then make sure that then you succeed. Because trying to come up with one meal for people who will tell you that I don't eat some, I don't eat pork, another one I don't eat this one, I'm vegetarian, you are eating animals, I want, like, it's just not gonna work, guys. We should actually think.
I'm gonna end this one because I don't want to lose this one as well. But I'll be on again. I wanted us to get into the whole what's that talk? the one that you were talking about yesterday about that guys should not be in relationships with women with children.
Oh yeah, okay.
I need those quotes again. I'm gonna end this one. Okay.
Hey, let's go. I'm ready. My ears are ready. Go on, kid. Go on.
You know.
Bring back the invoices.